Challenges and chargers await the Dallas Cowboys as week 2 of the NFL season is upon us, and we have plenty to talk about on the newest edition of Special Edition here from the Globe Life Studios at the Star in Frisco. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church. We've got Nate Newton as well. I'm Kyle Yeoman. So glad you're with us. And gentlemen, we'll start off by looking backwards a little bit. We previewed the Chargers game throughout the week on DallasCowboys.com. We also reviewed the Week 1 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this show. But Isaiah, if you learned something throughout the week of reviewing that Tampa Bay loss, what would it be going into Week 2?
I think that as a team, we're in a good position to have a good year. I think that, we have some things obviously we need to hit on offensively. We had some opportunities that we left out there, but overall, Dak had put out a good performance. We got to find a way to get Zeke the ball and evenly distribute this thing. And then on the defensive side of the ball, guys are flying around. We just have to be able to make more plays.
Yeah, I think we showed a lot of fight. Offensively, defensively, we scrapped, we clawed, we didn't give up when things started getting bad on us, and we were able to go out there and create turnovers, something on the defensive side of the ball that we haven't been able to do in a very long time. Offense, we know they're going to be explosive. If they can keep putting up those numbers, I think we'll be okay on this season.
These fellas brought it to you great and fabulous. But what we cannot do this week coming up is we got to have the red zone. And we got to score in the red zone. We cannot have 4 turnovers, which our defense got to us last week, and then not take advantage of the red zone opportunities. We have to score in the red zone 70% or better.
The Cowboys have 16 weeks to improve upon all 3 of those categories, and they're certainly going to need it throughout the rest of the regular season. The Cowboys, after Week 1, at least initially, looked like they had come out healthy. Well, that's not necessarily the case anymore, as a couple of starters have dropped. We're going to start on the defensive side of the football. DeMarcus Lawrence suffering a broken foot through Wednesday's practice at the Star in Frisco. He is out indefinitely. It should be around, 8 to 10 weeks for DeMarcus Lawrence is the thought process around his loss. And then Randy Gregory as well thrown in the mix. He was put on the COVID list. So 2 edge rushers potentially out. How big of a loss is that?
Is major, and not even from the standpoint of our pass rushers, but especially in particular to D. Law and his absence for a while now, possibly, his effect that he has not only to the approach on this defense and then in terms of their tenacity and their fight, but also his run stopping ability. He really gets after the ball, and we're not even talking about him trying to get sacks.
Yeah, this is just a big time loss right here. Like you said, D. Law, Randy Gregory, those were the guys that we wanted to generate pressure on our defensive side of the ball. Now it's going to force guys like Dorrance Armstrong and Terrell Basham to step up. They're going to go from rotational players to being players that guys are going to count on to generate a pass rush, to be playmakers out there. So they're going to have to step up along with Bradley and maybe even Azor Kamara. Those guys are going to have to step up in order to fill that void of D-Law and Randy Gregory.
D-Law is your heart and soul of this defense. He's the guys that keep everything going. When things go bad, he comes to the sideline. He gives them the talk. We're going to need for these guys to step up to take care of D-Law.
And then looking on the offensive side of the football, the Cowboys lost a couple pieces there as well. Let's start with Michael Gallup. He was injured in the second half of the game against Tampa Bay. It was a lower body injury. He is put on IR, out 3 to 5 weeks. Is that as big of a loss as Randy Gregory, or is that just one of those where you can fill some holes?
I don't think it's as big as a loss as we're having with both of our defensive ends. We have some guys that can step up and said and Noah Brown coming back as well. But, we're going to miss Gallup. We're going to miss his speed that he possesses on the outside. Obviously, we have a nice 1-2 punch on the perimeter with Cooper and Gallup, and now CD is going to have to bump out in that space.
Yeah, I don't think it's as big of a loss as those defensive ends. Look, Gallup, he had that connection with Dak as far as the deep ball is concerned, so we'll miss a little bit of that going forward. But I think the combination of a Ced Wilson, Noah Brown, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz, the combination of those guys should be able to help fill the void that Michael Gallup has left.
I agree 100%. I mean, it's nothing more I can add. Wilson is a big play ready to happen. This guy's going to spring loose.
And then Lyle Collins as the right tackle, suspended 5 games by the NFL for abuse of the substance abuse policy. It's kind of a touchy subject, but no doubt about it, this is the biggest loss because now you lose the anchor of your offensive line on the right tackle spot.
I think you said it right, Kyle. That's the greatest loss that we've had this week. Even taking into account Gregory and D-Law being gone on the defensive side, Collins, we've seen this story. We saw this last year, and we know how dangerous that is. Now we have we got a decision to make. Is it going to be Nsekhe? Is it going to be Terrence Steele? Either way, both of these guys are going to need help. They can't be on an island by themselves. We got Bosa Boy coming, and we need to be able to get some hits on them.
Yeah, I think this LC situation is the biggest loss of all of them. Because like you said, we got Joey Bosa, who's arguably one of the top 3 defensive ends coming into this game. And if you think that defensive coordinator for the Chargers isn't looking over there saying, okay, well, Tyron Smith's on this side. All right, Joey B, you line up on the other side. Go see what this young tackle got, or whoever gets the nod, you're out of your mind. So, Kellen, you got to slide that protection, chip with running backs, chip with tight ends, whatever you got to do to slow Bosa down, do it, or else this guy has the opportunity to be a game wrecker.
You know, LC, man, he prepared himself. He came back from injury last year. He's been fighting the stingers. He's a gamer, but he's out. We don't know the reason why, what's going on, but we got 2 guys that are capable as long as we give them help.
And you are facing a Chargers team that has some youth, that has some experience, kind of mixed in between, and they have one of the best quarterbacks, young quarterbacks in the NFL. Is Justin Herbert the best quarterback the Cowboys will face until November? We're going to talk about the second-year man out of Oregon when we return to Special Edition.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. GEICO. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gym 7 scratch tickets. There's a Gym 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today.
Last week it was Brady, Gronk, Evans, and White. This week for the Dallas Cowboys, the matchups are with Justin Herbert, Allen, Bosa, and James as the tests keep coming for this Cowboys Week 2 of the NFL season, and the Los Angeles Chargers on the docket. And let's preview those Chargers overall, a team that is really sprinkled throughout with talent and youth. It's a dangerous combination, especially in the passing game. Justin Herbert, in his second year out of Oregon, Nate, has already established himself as a lethal passer and his receivers as lethal weapons.
Yeah, he's a big, strong kid, man. He opened last week's game, man, 6 for 6. Took his team right down and scored against a good Washington defense. So, hey, look for big things from this guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier said than done rattling this guy, but we have got to get after this quarterback. We have got to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. We got to force him to make decisions with the football before he's ready to. If we're able to do that, then we have a chance defensively to surround this Chargers offense.
Yeah, and as a former Washington Husky, I do not like Oregon Ducks. But, you know, Coach Lombardi, the offensive coordinator over there, is doing a great job putting Herbert in a position to be successful with high precision, quick passes, get the ball out of his hands. If we have any chance of stopping these guys on offense, we're going to have to be able to get up there and put some pressure on them at the line of scrimmage.
337 passing yards for L.A. last week against Washington. They were held to just 90 yards total on the ground. Austin Eckler really did not get off the ground, and as another weapon on that offense, Nate, how do you replicate that to slow down Austin Eckler this week?
You just got to stay in your gaps. You got to stay on top of them. And they run to help set up their pass. They gave 27 touches last week between those guys. So they're going to run the ball, but you just got to make sure you keep it to short distance, 3 yards and under.
Yeah, like Nate said, we all got to stay on our gap. It's about disciplined football. If you're supposed to be in the A-gap, stay in the A-gap. This guy is a small guy. He's hard to see behind that line of scrimmage. You got to be disciplined football. Surround him and limit his yak yardage.
Saran wrap.
There it is.
Wrap him up. Wrap him up. You got to be able to wrap this guy up. Defensive ends, whoever's going to be in there replacing our dogs, you have to be able to squeeze the edges, okay? And then everybody else, Parsons and the rest of the crew, all right, Jalen Smith, Van Der Esch, run and hit this dude.
And if you think the offense is dangerous, just wait till you look at Joey Bosa on the other side. Edge rusher, 2016 Defensive Rookie of the Year, 3-time Pro Bowler already throughout his career. Is there any chance, Isaiah, that the Cowboys even limit Joey Bosa because he's going to get his fill?
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, every team's going to address him the same way. They're going to slide protection. They're going to put tight ends over there to try to assist, and then they're going to try to use their running backs to chip on them. That's the game plan every single week against Bosa. He knows that. Your job is to make sure that he is inefficient at least 90% of the time because he's going to eat eventually.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. We've got to slide that protection to him, chip with the running back, chip with the tight ends. This guy is explosive. His ability to rush with speed and power is unmatched out there. We got to put all hands on deck towards him. Tyron Smith, you're on your own this week. Joey Bosa, we need to focus all on him.
It's just how you do it. I mean, you got to know wherever he's lined up at, every formation, every position, you have to know as an offensive line coach, hey, right here's Joey B. Hill, right here he'll be here. This is where your help coming from. Our tackles, be it either which one either it is, Ninseki or Steele, they have to know how this guy's going to play them and where their help is coming from.
The coaches will have that circled on the
Yes,
dry
sir.
erase board prior
Yes,
to the
sir.
game.
Yes,
the front
sir.
office has already had it circled, including Cowboys COO Stephen Jones, who joins us coming up on the other side of the break with Nick Eatman when we return with more Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.
Entering the Week 2 matchup with the Los Angeles Chargers, the Dallas Cowboys have an opportunity or a potential to be missing 6 starters on both sides of the football. So it means it's been a busy week for the Cowboys front office, and one of the key members of that front office, Stephen Jones, joins Nick Eatman.
Hey guys, I'm Nick Eatman here along with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. And Stephen, this is a long season. Here we go. We're getting into week 2. Obviously, you've said it before. You wanted to get that win. You were so close there in Tampa Bay. But how exciting is it here to get into Los Angeles and face the Chargers week 2?
Well, I thought we played well last week. We gave ourselves every opportunity to win, but we're not into moral victories around here, so we've got to start putting W's on the board there. But we are excited to go out to L.A. Obviously, watched that Rams game the other night there where we're going to be playing at SoFi. What an amazing place to play football for the NFL. And certainly we're going to have our work cut out for us with the Chargers. I think Herbert started up right where he left off last year and really looked sharp and ready to go. And so he'll be a handful, albeit he doesn't have the skins on the wall like Tom Brady. He certainly seems like he's trending in a great direction for his career. And then, of course, the defense of the Chargers is a big challenge. I mean, they really give you a lot of different looks, and certainly going to be a challenge for Dak and our offense. But, you know, we've got to certainly build on what we did the week before. Certainly got to slow these offenses down a little bit more. And I thought Dan Quinn and our defense did get off to a good start. They played hard. They did some of the things we need to see happen, which is make plays on the ball. We won the turnover battle. If we keep doing that, we'll win a lot of football games. So we're looking forward to the trip to L.A., and we're going to have a challenge with the Chargers.
You get to that offensive line, and obviously you have some changes there at right tackle with Lyle Collins being out, Terrence Steele, Ty Nsekhe, maybe even Zach Martin. Give us an update on what you think could happen there at the right tackle spot.
Well, I think first of all, last week Connor McGovern did a great job filling in, so we can do it. You know, obviously Zach's a big hole to fill, but I thought Connor really did an admirable job filling in for him. Just as I think between Steele and Nsekhe, I think they'll do a great job, you know, filling in for Lyle out there. I think Dak's got a lot of confidence in him. We'll probably keep Zach right where he is, and certainly that gives us great depth there with Connor McGovern. And, you know, still feel really good about that offensive line group and what we can do there. But I really think they'll rise to the occasion. And, of course, Dak's helping him out. He's getting rid of that ball. He knows what where he's going with the ball. And certainly picked up right where he left off a year ago, if you will, in terms of his production and what he can do leading this offense, but not only leading the offense, but leading the football team.
Last week at safety, Malik Hooker did not play, was inactive, still kind of getting back into the rhythm. Do you expect him to play in this game? And if so, what can he add back there?
Yeah, I think, you know, you just look at, you know, what he did at Ohio State. He came out as a high draft pick. When he's been healthy in the NFL, he's performed at a high level. We stress the ball around here. When he's been rolling and had healthy season, he's been all over the ball with interceptions and deflections and you know, as a ball hawk. And he'll be making his way into the lineup now in terms of getting some play time, and I really think he can bring something to the table that can really help us.
We know you're busy. Thanks for joining us. That's Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. We'll throw it back to you.
Special thanks to Nationwide for presenting our interview. You can catch the entire interview on DallasCowboys.com. Steven mentioned a couple of the big-time matchups for the Dallas Cowboys this week, but what do our analysts believe are the three biggest matchups on the table? Micah Parsons might be mentioned in one of those when we come back.
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
The Star in Frisco and the Globe Life Studios back here with more Special Edition. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And gentlemen, now here's your chance to shine, saying the biggest matchups. We just talked to Stephen Jones a moment ago about his matchups that he had some eyes on. One was right up the alley of Nate Newton. And Nate, you thought that, hey, Terrence Steele and Joey Bosa was all but going, and at least at the moment, it looks like it's Terrence Steele or Ty Nsekhe facing Joey Bosa. Is that still your matchup to watch?
Yes, and we've talked about it here quickly and briefly, and it's all been about Bosa. Know where your help is coming from, but we have to early help these two guys. Whichever one it is, we have to help them early. If you can keep him out of the quarterback's face in the first quarter, then our tackles will build confidence and we can go solo a little bit more as the game go on.
15 games started last year for Terrence Steele, 177 snaps in the preseason. Isaiah, yours is in the passing game.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking at, Trayvon Diggs versus Keenan Allen. And, Trayvon, you did a heck of a job, dare I say, shutting down Mike Evans last week. So guess what? Your task, again, is to handle their number one receiver. Welcome to the NFL. This is your job. He's going to have to do a great job of getting up to the line of scrimmage and being physical. Disrupt their release. They want to get the ball in his hands quickly and allow for him to get yak yardage. Don't allow him to get off the line of scrimmage. If he does get a catch, make sure you wrap up to limit his yardage.
Just one reception on 5 targets against Trayvon Diggs last week. And then, Barry, you're looking at a rookie matchup.
Yeah, I got Micah Parsons versus Austin Eckler. Now, Parsons is going to have his hands full this week because Eckler, he's one of the most explosive backs in the National Football League. When you combine his quicks with his route running ability, he is a mismatch on third down. But I have all faith in my boy Parsons out there. After I saw what he was able to do in coverage against those Tampa Bay running backs last week, he was glued to their hip the whole time. So I have faith that this guy has the smarts and the speed to be able to hang with a guy like Eckler.
It definitely looked like there was a learning moment last week with Micah Parsons throughout the game. Whenever it's a jump from not playing in a year to NFL speed to a reigning Super Bowl champion, you're going to have a little bit of a learning moment overall. We'll see what he has in week 2. But what about keys to the game? When we come back, we're going to give the most important things the Cowboys must accomplish whenever they want to beat the Chargers this weekend.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
The Cowboys lead the all-time series with the Chargers by 1 game, but they have lost 4 of the last 5 meetings dating back to 2001. Mike McCarthy has not been 0-2 in the regular season since 2006 as well. That was his first season with Green Bay, and he will look to avoid to do that this week against the Chargers. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Final segment here of Special Edition. Keys to the game, Nate, what do you have on the docket?
Rashad Slater, he's a beast. This dude was a first-round pick this year. He's a beast, man. We have to come at this guy with Bradley Arnay, Dorrance Armstrong, all these guys. They got to play big. They got to play big. In some way, we got to put Parsons over there and just speed rush him. He's a good player.
Look, overall, we have got to find a way to generate pressure on Justin Herbert. We cannot let him sit back there and dissect our defense. Now, it's looking like we might not be without our 2 stars at defensive end. So, Dorrance Armstrong, Terrell Basham, it's your time to step up. I need you to bring your A game because we can't let Justin Herbert be comfortable back there.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go to the overall team. We have to match their intensity, especially our offense versus their defense. They have guys at every level. They got Bosa at the first level, who has a motor. They have James at the second level. I'm sorry, Murray at the second level, who's a beast as well, who runs around and hits. And then at the third level, they have Derwin James, one of the best safeties in the league. These guys fly around, they hit. We have to be able to respond whenever they get us.
One of the things that I know you've talked about previously is you know a team is good and you know a unit is good when you have to look on the other side and say, that man right there is someone we need to game plan against. The Chargers have guys on every level, both on offense and on defense, and the Cowboys certainly are going to have their work cut out for them this week. That's going to do it for us on Special Edition. 3:25 kickoff on Sunday. We'll see you after the game.